He is the host of The Opposition with Jordan Klepper every single night on Comedy Central at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time after The Daily Show, which is how we first fell in love with him nationally. Good to see you, Jordan Klepper. What's going on, man?
Not much. Good to be out in balmy L.A.
Yeah. So you are shooting your show in New York City. We just saw a lot of walking and talking that you did on the streets of New York.
Yes, that's right outside our studio. Our studio's in the lovely Pennsylvania Hotel, which is a great place to make TV and to get bed bugs, and we're right across from Madison Square Garden. So we just head out into the cast and film some stuff day out.
So the bed bugs have gone across the street, and is that what's wrong with the Knicks? Is that what it is?
You know, it could be.
We're looking for that.
Is that what it might be? And let me tell you, if it can destroy your life, it can destroy your NBA team. Like bed bugs, they are a killer.
But the walking and talking that I just saw, that's very impressive. That's like you could do some sports broadcasting.
Thank you very much.
With the walk and talk like that.
You should see me with the walk and talk. I can chew gum. You didn't see it there, but I could do that as well. I'm a multi-hyphenate.
I mean, you were pointing and leaving frame and finding your camera.
Now, to be fair,
that is not easy to do.
Yeah, now that wasn't all one take. You know, sometimes I don't remember to leave frame. Sometimes I'm pointing in the wrong direction. But eventually, we get a product that makes it look like I'm somebody who should be on television.
Yeah, and the piece for our radio audience that we just saw, you were kind of spoofing the president's comments when the North Korean hostages came home, saying that they broke a ratings record at 3 a.m.
They did.
And then you named a whole bunch of TV shows whose ratings they broke that 3 a.m.
Yes.
That you named a couple of great commercials in the
There's great
middle of the night.
I mean, I think the president definitely has his priorities straight there. He knows where to focus, and I think he did defeat Coneheads the movie that very morning.
Is it wrong for me to, when I seen that I thought of some like Shannon Tweed film?
I don't think that is
3 a.m.
I think that's actually that's a good Rorschach test of like close your eyes, think of what are you imagining at 3 a.m. Now what do you see? To me, it was Coneheads or a My Pillow commercial.
Now, hey, look, we talk My Pillow here all the time, so we're breaking records just by merely doing that. I love that. Jordan Klepper here on the Rich Eisen Show. Now, you, sir, are from the great state of Michigan.
The great state of Michigan, yes, Kalamazoo, born and bred.
Okay, and that's home to Western Michigan University.
And Kalamazoo College, where I went to college.
Okay. Is there a football program associated with Kalamazoo College?
There is. I think that's probably the nicest way to put it. There is a football team associated with Kalamazoo College. It's a small college. It's like 1,500 people. I think the football team has at least 20 people on it, and so
so they play both. They play both offense and defense.
They play whatever you need. Yes,
roster.
They also teach some classes. Like you take it where you can get it.
Right.
So that's the Hornets, but I'm Michigan proud.
So did you have any rooting allegiances football-wise in the state outside of Kalamazoo?
I 100% did. I grew up big Wolverine fans. I was going to be named Bo if they won the Rose Bowl that year. Luckily, they did not.
Well. That's most years, unfortunately.
Sadly.
So hold on a second. So what was hanging in the balance here? Who was Michigan playing
that was 79. It was USC, I believe. It might have been Phantom Touchdown
The
year.
Phantom Touchdown named you Jordan? Is that what it is? Charles White going over. By the way, are you familiar with that Phantom Touchdown, Chris Brockman?
I am not. USC won the game 17-10.
Okay. So was that the Charles White year? Is that what that was? Charles White was a running back for USC.
Yes, Charles White.
Okay. If there was instant replay, they would have clearly shown that the ball was loose. He broke the plane of the goal with no football in his hand that Michigan then recovered.
Yeah. It's
one of the many injustices that have been perpetrated on Michigan Wolverine football in the beautiful city of Pasadena, California.
You're telling me, but if it gave me my name, I'm going to take it. I will be the dog. The dog got named Bo. We have a dog named Bo. My dad grew up, loves Bo Schembechler. I did as well. We got to meet him. I would save up my money. They would have the Michigan football bust every year where they'd hold it in the Renaissance Center in Detroit, and after the season, you could go and have dinner. They'd give out awards, and fans could save up like $50 and go meet the players. And that was like my big thing. I would save up my money all year and get to go to the Renaissance Center and meet Bo, or at least take a picture with him from like 10 feet away.
So,
and me and my dad my dad got us bow ties. So they were bow ties with little bows on it.
Oh my gosh. So just to make me feel older.
Right.
You were born in 1979. So you were 7 years old when I strolled onto the campus of the University of Michigan and was rooting for Jim Harbaugh.
Well, Harbaugh was my first favorite player.
That was it, right?
Yeah, that was. I mean, that's why when he came back, I couldn't have been more excited. I had the big number 4 jersey. I think I first went to a game at age 6, but Harbaugh was the quarterback, and
yeah, it was age 6 would be 1985 when they lost to Chuck Long in Iowa.
Yes. Who then became a Detroit Lion,
Correct.
which I remember my dad, at the time, I didn't know all these different allegiances, but he had a hard time rooting for Chuck Long. I mean, the Lions are always hard to, you root for them, but I mean, that's
just to raise the bar on rooting for the Lions, the degree of difficulty.
Yeah, but isn't it hard enough? Now you got Chuck Long, and he's beaten Michigan in the past.
Right.
That's why we are Lions fans. Actually, my brother works for the Lions, so we support the Lions, love the Lions.
Oh,
but
really?
He does, yeah.
What does your brother do for the Detroit Lions?
He works in marketing for the Lions. So he went to U of M. He was the one Klepper family member who actually went to U of M. He worked with the team, and then after graduating, went to the Lions to basically be a liaison between the players, and now he's in the marketing department over there.
How's the marketing going? Of the Detroit Lions? They're still trying to restore that roar, man. They're still the roar restoration project is in its 40th season. Right
I'd like
now.
to restore the roar. I think that's a good hook, right? It's the colors. That's the hard. Your marketing is an uphill battle with that silver and that light blue.
Excuse me, I don't mean to pick nits, Jordan, but it's Honolulu blue.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh,
it's called Honolulu blue. Which is because when you go into the old Silverdome, you always thought of Oahu, right?
I mean, if there's one thing, when you're in Pontiac, Michigan, it definitely feels like you're in the Hawaii of the Midwest.
When I was in school there. I'm with Jordan Klepper, Comedy Central, the opposition with Jordan Klepper. When I was in school there, 1988, I went to a game in the Silverdome, and it was the pre-Wayne Fonts Lions. And the Joe Must Go Walton New York Jets, and I'm a New York Jet fan. And I went there, got into the building, and they said, I swear to you, pick any seat you want.
Oh.
So I sat 5th row, 50-yard line with about 500 other people. I'm not kidding you. This is not an exaggeration.
Wow.
But I got to see, I don't even think Barry Sanders was there yet. It was just...
I mean, that's why you got to sit. They got a few more fans when Barry came on board.
But when I was there, it was the Sparky Anderson Tigers still winning, and it was the Jacques Demers Red Wings that were winning.
Is that the Eiserman era?
That was absolutely the Stevie Y era.
Yeah.
And then even worse, for a Knicks fan, the Bad Boys, Chuck Daly, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer kicking ass, Rick Mahorn era. Pistons.
That was the most fun. I grew up. I remember getting those Bad Boys when they went back to back. Loved Laimbeer, Mahorn.
Laimbeer.
I loved Laimbeer. My dad always loved Vinny the Microwave Johnson. And I'd always be like, why do they call him the Microwave? Because he heats up so fast.
He does. That's true.
I loved it. So I loved Vinny. He was great too.
Yeah, Joe Dumars and that team. It was tough for me as a New Yorker to swallow. With Ewing trying to beat them and couldn't beat them. And then when finally somebody beat the Pistons, it was Michael freaking Jordan, and nobody could beat him.
The good thing about being very young at that time is when Michael Jordan came around, I was a Pistons fan, but Michael Jordan was so fun and I was so young, I had no problem becoming a Chicago Bulls fan just like that.
It's amazing because when I mentioned the Knicks fans that I guess the villains, if you will, that I couldn't stand as a Knicks fan, I just removed Jordan from the equation. He's not... He's just on a different level. He's a different human being on the planet.
Did you enjoy watching him then? Was that, I mean...
Yeah, but then I was sick and tired of him beating our brains in. It just got a little bit, repetitive.
Those games were fun. Those Starks games, those were so fun.
So tell me about the opposition with Jordan Klepper. You're doing your own gig after being on The Daily Show for many years. It's funny. You are doing some funny work. So.
Oh, it's a funny time to live in. And it's a blast. Yeah, I had a great job over at The Daily Show playing this buffoonish character, and we kind of heightened it to create this opposition show where I play this character he's fringy, he's far right, he's in the world of like the Alex Jones and the Sean Hannitys, like creating his own reality, anti-mainstream, and so we sort of just take the chaos of the day, which there tends to be a lot of it, and we play around in that muck.
And your character's not a fan of the town in which we're currently sitting right
He is
now,
not at all.
of Los Angeles.
He is.
It's the Hollywood elites?
He hates the Hollywood elites. He's anti-Big Hollywood. Although if you invited him to be a part of Big Hollywood, he would drop all of that and he would be there. He just wants to be invited.
Just wants to be invited, wants to go to that Vanity Fair party.
Oh God, he's gonna be.
Right.
He protests it. He's against it. He'll tweet angrily about it. But if you give him one little invitation, he would drop it all in a heartbeat.
Is it true that after your first segment on The Daily Show that you sat in the live audience? Is that a true story?
That is true. Yeah.
What was that all about?
I mean, it happens. I was a huge Daily Show fan forever, and I was doing comedy forever. And to get the break to be on the show like that was a dream come true. It happened really quickly. My first day of work, I show up with the suit from my wedding a few months earlier. They put me on the show, and kind of an amazing moment to get to be on the show with Jon Stewart, do that piece, and then that thing ended. And I was like, I've never seen The Daily Show live. Can I go watch? And they were like, well, I don't know where you want to sit. It's like, just bring out a chair anywhere. I want to see what this thing looks like.
There's nobody like Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
There really isn't. I miss him being on TV. And again, just kind of bringing this full circle, joking about your walking and talking ability on the street. Nobody could read a prompter like him. And I read a prompter for a living. And I'm assuming a lot of that stuff was on a teleprompter for him to be discussing. Wasn't it?
I mean, yes, but he's able to jump. I mean, that's
go from one thing to another, to read it and then ad lib.
You're right. That is a very specific skill. I remember watching along with him doing that, like where he chooses to deviate, how he plays around. It's very inside baseball, but it is something like he's able to still add newness, freshness to it, read an audience to see how they want to play. He'll rewrite jokes in the prompter. Like you'll see him jump ahead because the audience was on board with the premise more than they are the punchline. He was a pro. He did it for 16 years.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like in terms of, being a fan of his, there was I forget what it was, the 20,000 Sports Center when I was on Sports Center. Yeah. And I drew, they split us up as the Sports Center anchors to go appear on different late night shows. And I requested to go on The Daily Show. And I went on. And this was before he started cursing regularly. He started off, by the way, he visited in the back, which I picked up on. Any guest that comes here on the show, I will always want to go visit in the back.
Of course.
He stopped by. He couldn't have been greater and nicer. And then he starts off the interview by saying, 20,000 Sports Centers, man. Huh. That's got to be a whole bunch of, and he said BS. He said the word, and it was like this Dwight Gooden 12 midnight, 6 o'clock curveball that spun off. I was totally thrown off. I try to be funny. It was a disastrous appearance that lives on the internet forever. And I wish I could have had a mulligan on that one. He's just the best. There's nobody like him.
I love it. In that first moment, you're like, oh, I blew it. I was right here.
And when you're walking around town, do people think you're that right-wing guy that you play on TV?
Sometimes, for sure. I think when I go to Trump rallies and we talk about those things, I think people embrace that POV, and that POV exists there. And so, and then some people have seen the show, and some people are fans on the right. Some people are angry and will chase me down. Some fans do the exact same thing as well, so it's a confusing time.
I was about to say, that's odd that there's people who feel polarized. That's odd.
Here's a weird. I've noticed it's a polarized country.
Well, you're a very keen observer.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I noticed some things.
At Jordan Klepper on Twitter. Check out The Opposition with Jordan Klepper every single weeknight, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Comedy Central. Please let me know when you're back in this scourge of Los Angeles to hang out with the elites of El Segundo here.
Thanks, Rich.
You bet. That's Jordan Klepper here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.